So I had this loony leftist on Facebook post about illegal immigration again. So I posted my how about you loony leftists stop lecturing me on immigration, you sound really dumb. And then I posted a picture of a green card, which I have, a video about being legal, what a legal immigrant is. And I had someone below me, and I said, how about, yeah, you really sound dumb. Here's the response. I don't know what's wrong with these loony leftists. I really don't. Maybe the Seroquel dosage needs to be played with. I don't know. But it says, as kids in school say, it takes one to know one. You must be real guzzling down that orange. And I said, you mean a legal immigrant? It takes one to know one? You mean a legal immigrant? Yeah, stupid. I think I said that, dingle nuts. Doesn't that sound Christmassy? I mean, you're a moron, but it has a Christmassy feel to it. Then I posted 150 years and the Democrats are still defending slavery. Well, if you free our slaves, who's going to pick our crops? Well, if you deport all the illegal immigrants, who's going to pick the crops? See, it hasn't changed in 150 years. As a matter of fact, they were outside a marijuana farm in California where I think it was, 10 trafficked kids were being used as slave labor. So, yeah, 150 years, they're still defending slave labor. I want to talk about a monumental announcement that has the potential to reshape America's energy landscape and solidify our position as a global leader in artificial intelligence. On September 4th, 2025, Hitachi Energy made headlines by unveiling a staggering $1 billion investment aimed at fortifying the U.S. electrical grid infrastructure. This isn't just about numbers, it's about jobs, innovation, and the ambitious vision laid out by President Donald Trump's energy dominance agenda. So buckle up as we explore how this investment connects with the future of AI and energy. Let's set the stage. The White House has been proactive in its approach to boost both energy production and technological advancement under the banner of the America First policy. In a world that increasingly relies on technology, having a robust electrical infrastructure is more crucial than ever. The recent announcement from Hitachi Energy highlights two key components. A whopping $457 million will go towards establishing a new large power transformer facility in Virginia. This facility alone is projected to create thousands of new jobs that will not only empower individuals, but also support the artificial intelligence revolution sweeping across various sectors. Now let's break down what this all means. First, this investment marks a significant step forward in President Trump's energy dominance agenda. The goal? To secure our supply chains and ensure we can meet the ever-growing demand for energy, especially as more industries look to integrate AI into their operations. Earlier this year, Trump showcased an impressive commitment of $92 billion from leading energy and tech companies dedicated to developing state-of-the-art AI and energy infrastructure, particularly in Pennsylvania. That's not just a financial commitment, it's an investment in the future of American jobs and technological leadership. Now, why is this important? Well, as companies rush to onshore production and expand their manufacturing capabilities, we're witnessing a unique moment in American history, a revival of domestic industry powered by innovation. With the support of policies aimed at strengthening our energy independence, we are setting ourselves up for sustainable growth. But there's more. This is about more than just economic benefits. It's about positioning the U.S. as a global powerhouse in AI. The synergy between energy and artificial intelligence could lead to groundbreaking advancements that could impact everything from healthcare to transportation. To put things into perspective, consider this. According to a recent report by McKinsey, advancements in AI could contribute up to $13 trillion to the global economy by 2030. That's trillions with a T. And it all starts with investments like these. As Hitachi Energy embarks on this journey, they're not just building transformers, they're laying down the framework for a smarter, more efficient future. As President Trump said, we will unleash the full power of American industry. This investment isn't just a statistic, it's a testament to that very promise. So what have we learned today? The $1 billion investment by Hitachi Energy signals a pivotal shift in our approach to energy and technology. With thousands of jobs on the line and a clear path toward AI integration, we're witnessing the dawn of a new era. President Trump's energy dominance agenda is not merely rhetoric. It's becoming reality, one transformer at a time. Oh, and have I mentioned lately, 4 million registered Democrats have left the party. Not 1 million, not 2 million, not even 3 million, 4 million. Keep doing what you're doing, dinglenuts. So, on my Facebook page, of course, the Alphabet Mafia is posting a meme saying that the Department of Homeland Security is going to deem trans people as mentally ill so they can take their guns. You are mentally ill. It's literally in the book, the DSM-5, the book they use to diagnose mental illness. If you don't know who you are based on your genitalia, you probably shouldn't have things that explode. That's what a bullet does. It explodes inside the firearm. Oh, and have I mentioned lately, 4 million registered Democrats have left the party. Not 1 million, not 2 million, not even 3 million, 4 million. Keep doing what you're doing, dinglenuts. Okay, folks, I'm tired of hearing this one. Some dude named Tony put up a meme. That's all he does, too. I guess he's supposed to have a podcast, but I've never listened to it. From the memes he puts up, he sounds kind of retarded. Anyway, and you all say the same things. They don't care about you. They're not supposed to. That's how you end up with vaccine mandates, dumbasses. That's how you end up with them taking your firearms. Because they're looking out for you. Let me explain what they're supposed to do. I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States. End of statement. That's their only job. Nowhere in there does it say I'm supposed to worry about fucking Tony. Tony is supposed to worry about Tony. Hey, Tony, grow up. Oh, and have I mentioned lately, 4 million registered Democrats have left the party? Not 1 million, not 2 million, not even 3 million, 4 million. Keep doing what you're doing, dinglenuts. In a world where truth often seems malleable, one must ponder an unsettling question. How many times does someone have to lie to you before you label them a liar? The answer varies among individuals, but the distressing reality is that many Americans appear to tolerate repeated dishonesty. This phenomenon raises crucial concerns about our societal values and the implications of accepting falsehoods as a norm. A poignant example that underscores this issue is the tragic case of Michael Brown, whose death in Ferguson, Missouri, ignited a nationwide conversation about race, justice, and the narratives we accept. At its core, the acceptance of repeated lies reflects a troubling trend in American culture, a willingness to overlook the truth when it's inconvenient or uncomfortable. This phenomenon can be observed across various domains, from politics to personal relationships. When leaders and influencers bend the truth without consequence, it creates an environment where dishonesty becomes normalized. The case of Michael Brown illustrates this perfectly. Following his death at the hands of Officer Darren Wilson, conflicting narratives emerged regarding the events leading up to the shooting. Some painted Brown as a violent criminal, while others depicted him as an innocent victim. These divergent stories were not merely a matter of differing opinions, they represented a fundamental struggle over truth itself. The aftermath of Brown's death revealed how quickly misinformation can spread and how readily some individuals accept it without scrutiny. In the days and weeks following the incident, various media outlets disseminated conflicting reports that catered to pre-existing biases. The image of Brown as a gentle giant was juxtaposed against accusations of theft and aggression, creating a narrative that polarized public opinion. In this context, one must ask, how many times must we hear conflicting accounts before we begin to question their validity? This situation exemplifies how societal narratives can be shaped by selective truths, and how easily we can become complicit in perpetuating lies. Moreover, this acceptance of dishonesty has dire consequences for trust in our institutions. When citizens grow accustomed to being misled, be it by politicians, law enforcement, or media, faith in these institutions erodes. The initial narrative surrounding Michael Brown's death sparked outrage and protests across the nation, revealing deep-seated frustrations with systemic racism and police brutality. Yet, as misinformation circulated and narratives shifted, many individuals became disillusioned, unsure of whom or what to believe. This disillusionment fosters apathy and disengagement from civic responsibilities, a dangerous trajectory for any democracy. The question then becomes, what can we do to combat this cycle of deceit? First and foremost, we have to cultivate a culture of critical thinking and media literacy. Encouraging individuals to scrutinize sources and question narratives is essential in an age where information is readily available, yet often misleading. Furthermore, we should demand accountability from those in positions of power. When leaders are held responsible for their words and actions, it reinforces the value of honesty and transparency within our society. The frequency with which we accept lies shapes our collective understanding of truth and trust. The case of Michael Brown serves as a stark reminder that complacency in the face of dishonesty can have tragic consequences, not only for individuals but for society as a whole. As Americans grapple with complex issues surrounding race and justice, it's imperative that we refuse to accept repeated lies without challenge. By fostering critical thinking and demanding accountability, we can begin to rebuild trust in our institutions and ensure that truth prevails over falsehoods. Ultimately, it's not merely about how many times one must lie. It's about recognizing that every lie erodes the fabric of trust that binds us together as a community. The case of Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri serves as a poignant example of how media narratives can diverge from reality. Brown was depicted as an innocent victim of systemic racism, but the facts reveal a more complex and troubling story. Standing at 6 foot 4 inches and weighing 292 pounds, Brown was involved in a robbery shortly before his encounter with Officer Darren Wilson. When confronted by Wilson, Brown's refusal to comply escalated into a physical confrontation, during which he attempted to seize the officer's weapon. The subsequent shooting was deemed justified by both a local grand jury and federal investigators. Yet, despite this conclusion, the narrative that emerged from this incident, that Brown had his hands up in a gesture of surrender, became an enduring symbol for anti-police sentiment. This false narrative was not just a misrepresentation, it was a fabrication that ignited protests and discussions around race relations in America. Similarly, the narrative surrounding Donald Trump's alleged collusion with Russia is another instance where media misrepresentation had far-reaching consequences. For 3 years, major news outlets perpetuated a story that painted Trump as a Russian agent, rooted in claims that were largely unfounded. The media's obsession with this narrative culminated in Pulitzer Prizes awarded for reporting that was later discredited. This raises critical questions about journalistic ethics. When does the pursuit of a story cross the line into sensationalism? In an environment where ratings often take precedence over accuracy, the integrity of journalism is at risk. Another noteworthy example is the mischaracterization of Trump's comments during the Charlottesville riot in 2017. The claim that he referred to neo-Nazis as very fine people has been thoroughly debunked through transcripts and video evidence. Trump's actual words condemned white supremacists unequivocally, yet this misrepresentation has persisted within public discourse, further illustrating how media narratives can be constructed and manipulated for specific agendas. This disregard for context and fact-checking in favor of sensational headlines serves only to deepen societal divisions. The implications of these fabrications extend beyond mere misinformation. They erode public trust in media institutions and contribute to a polarized society. When individuals perceive that they cannot rely on news sources for accurate information, it fosters cynicism and skepticism towards all forms of journalism. This presents a dangerous cycle where citizens become entrenched in their beliefs, often gravitating towards echo chambers that reinforce their views rather than challenge them. The examples discussed underscore an urgent need for accountability within journalism. The responsibility lies not only with news organizations, but also with consumers who must demand higher standards of reporting. As we navigate an increasingly complex information landscape, it is imperative that we prioritize truth over sensationalism. The stakes are high. The narratives we choose to believe shape our society and influence our collective future. If we're to mend the fractures within our discourse, we must commit ourselves to seeking out truth, not just in isolated incidents, but also as a fundamental principle guiding our understanding of the world around us. When Twitter took the unprecedented step of banning the New York Post story from being shared on its platform, a significant alarm bell rang. Rather than rallying around the fundamental principle of press freedom, much of the legacy media chose to focus on dismissing the story as another instance of Russian disinformation. This reaction raised profound questions about truth in journalism and the responsibility of both media outlets and consumers to seek and discern credible information. It's not merely about political allegiances or opinions. It's about the essence of truth and how we define it in a world rife with competing narratives. The incident surrounding the New York Post story exemplifies a growing trend where corporate media often prioritizes narrative over fact. In recent years, we have witnessed numerous high-profile misrepresentations, such as accusations against Supreme Court Justice nominee Brett Kavanaugh and misleading portrayals of events involving high school students or border agents. Each of these cases highlights a disturbing pattern. When faced with politically charged stories, some media outlets opt for sensationalism rather than diligent reporting. This tendency not only erodes public trust, but also creates the environment where misinformation can flourish. As consumers of news, it becomes our responsibility to critically evaluate sources and their claims rather than passively accepting them as truth. One might argue that the media landscape is inherently biased, leading to the proliferation of misinformation. This perception is exacerbated by the silos created by social media algorithms that curate content based on user preferences. When audiences are only exposed to viewpoints that reinforce their beliefs, critical thinking can become stifled. However, this does not absolve individuals from seeking diverse perspectives across the political spectrum. The ability to question and analyze information is essential for cultivating an informed citizenry. By embracing curiosity and holding media accountable for their narratives, we can reclaim our agency as discerning consumers. Moreover, reliance on a single narrative or source can lead us astray in our understanding of complex issues. For instance, consider how narratives surrounding immigration have been shaped by selective reporting. The portrayal of mounted border agents using whips to control migrants sparked outrage. Yet, further scrutiny revealed a more nuanced reality. Such instances serve as reminders that headlines often capture attention but rarely convey the entire truth. As citizens, it is imperative that we dig deeper into surface-level stories to gain a more comprehensive understanding of the issues at hand. Navigating the intricate web of modern media requires vigilance and discernment. The legacy media's failure to adequately respond to incidents like Twitter's ban on the New York Post story highlights a pressing need for reform and accountability in journalism. As individuals, we must cultivate a habit of critical thinking, fostering an environment where truth prevails over sensationalism. By broadening our sources of information and questioning prevailing narratives, we equip ourselves with the tools necessary to become informed citizens in a complex world. Ultimately, embracing this responsibility will not only enhance our understanding, but also contribute to a healthier democratic discourse where truth holds paramount importance. In this pursuit lies a powerful opportunity for growth and enlightenment amid the myriad of modern information. Oh, and have I mentioned lately, 4 million registered Democrats have left the party. Not 1 million, not 2 million, not even 3 million, 4 million. Keep doing what you're doing, dingo nuts. The country I currently call home, Brazil, has become a cautionary tale, a stark reminder of how quickly freedom can slip through our fingers if we do not protect it. In Brazil, widespread discontent with the ruling left-wing party paved the way for a populist president who promised to address our nation's endemic issues. This leader sparked a resurgence of patriotism and economic growth. However, his ascent was met with fierce opposition from the entrenched media elites and government bureaucrats who felt threatened by his agenda. They harassed him relentlessly throughout his term, slander after slander, investigation after investigation. His story exemplifies how populism can challenge the status quo, but also reveals how powerful interests will fight back to maintain their control. When new elections approached, those opposed to this president devised a plan to change election rules favoring their candidate. They succeeded in winning by narrow margins, while many supporters believed the election was rigged or even stolen. Protests erupted following the inauguration of the new president, leading to arrests and chaos. The situation mirrors what is happening in America, where calls for election integrity are often dismissed as conspiracy theories rather than legitimate concerns for safeguarding democracy. In Brazil, dissenting voices were silenced as journalists faced harassment and censorship. The teleprompter went nuts. The country I currently call home, Brazil, has become a cautionary tale, a stark reminder of how quickly freedom can slip through our fingers if we don't protect it. In Brazil, widespread discontent with the ruling left-wing party paved the way for a populist president who promised to address our nation's economic issues. This leader sparked a resurgence of patriotism and economic growth. However, his ascent was met with fierce opposition from entrenched media elites and government bureaucrats who felt threatened by his agenda. They harassed him relentlessly throughout his term, slander after slander, investigation after investigation. His story exemplifies how populism can challenge the status quo, but also reveals how powerful interests will fight back to maintain their control. When new elections approached, those opposed to this president devised a plan to change election rules, favoring their candidate. They succeeded in winning by narrow margins, while many supporters believed the election was rigged or even stolen. Protests erupted following the inauguration of the new president, leading to arrests and chaos. The situation mirrors what is happening there in America, where calls for election integrity are often dismissed as conspiracy theories rather than legitimate concerns for safeguarding democracy. In Brazil, dissenting voices were silenced as journalists faced harassment and censorship. As journalists sought answers about electoral transparency, they became increasingly complicated. Their lives became increasingly complicated. Bank accounts frozen, social media blocked, and their passports canceled. There in America, we see alarming parallels. Conservative politicians face scrutiny while free speech is stifled under the guise of protecting democracy. If we allow such actions to continue unchallenged, we risk heading down a path that leads to oppression. The situation in Brazil serves as a warning for us all. America must take heed. We are at a crossroads where our freedoms hang in the balance. Let us not wait until it's too late. We must act now. Protect your rights, demand transparency in elections, support those who uphold free speech. Freedom is fragile. Vigilance is essential. Stand up for democracy today. Your voice matters. Oh, and have I mentioned lately, 4 million registered Democrats have left the party. Not 1 million, not 2 million, not even 3 million. 4 million. Keep doing what you're doing, Dago Nuts. We often hear a simple mantra. If Israel just allowed the Palestinians to have their own state, peace would follow. But what if I told you that Israel has offered such a state not once, but 5 times? Let's examine these offers and understand why a true peace remains elusive. In 1936, Arabs rebelled against British rule in Palestine. To address the violence, Britain established the Peel Commission. This commission proposed a two-state solution, allocating 80% of the land to Arabs and only 20% to Jews. Despite this generous offer for a tiny Jewish state, the Jews accepted it. The Arabs rejected it and resumed their violent rebellion. This was rejection number 1. Fast forward to 1947. The United Nations intervened once more. They proposed a partition plan that mirrored the earlier Peel Commission's idea, 2 states for 2 peoples. On November 29, 1947, the UN voted in favor of this plan. Once again, Jews accepted it while Arab nations launched an all-out war against Israel instead of embracing statehood. This marked rejection number 2. The pattern continued through decades of conflict. In 2000, at Camp David, Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak offered Yasser Arafat nearly all of Gaza and 94% of the West Bank, with East Jerusalem as its capital. Arafat rejected this offer outright and responded with violence, a wave of suicide bombings that took over 1,000 Israeli lives. Rejection number 4. Again in 2008, Prime Minister Ehud Olmert made an even more generous offer, which Mahmoud Abbas also turned down. Rejection number 5. Throughout these critical moments in history, every time Israel has extended an olive branch for peace and statehood to Palestinians, it has been met with rejection or violence instead. So what does this history tell us? If we genuinely seek peace in the Middle East, Perhaps it's time to shift our focus from pressuring Israel for yet another offer to urging Palestinian leadership to finally recognize Israel's right to exist as a Jewish state. Let's remember, lasting peace cannot flourish without mutual recognition and respect between both peoples. Let's advocate for dialogue that encourages acceptance rather than division. Let's strive for understanding rather than hostility. Let's promote peace by recognizing historical truths. Oh, and have I mentioned lately, 4 million registered Democrats have left the party. Not 1 million, not 2 million, not even 3 million. 4 million. Keep doing what you're doing, dingle nuts. Now I want to talk about a rising sentiment among American millennials, the attraction to socialism. Many of you rallied behind Bernie Sanders in 2016 and proudly wear the Che Guevara shirts. Let me share with you a cautionary tale from Brazil, a country that once embraced socialism and is now grappling with its consequences. In Brazil, we were promised that redistributing wealth would lift everyone out of poverty. Lula da Silva, a self-proclaimed socialist, presented himself as the Lulinha Paz Amor, or Little Lula Peace and Love. He claimed to unite the nation while tackling inequality. However, under his administration, it became clear that the only ones getting rich were Lula and his political allies. The promise of wealth for the poor was overshadowed by corruption and greed at the top. When we look at these outcomes, it's vital to question whether similar promises in America are based on reality or mere rhetoric. Under Lula's successor, Dilma Rousseff, government spending spiraled out of control. She labeled this reckless spending as stimulus for growth, but failed to address its long-term impact. From 2008 to 2015, Brazil's government spending grew nearly 4 times faster than tax revenue, leading us into severe deficits and economic decline. In fact, our economy shrank by 3.8% in 2015, the worst performance in over 2 decades. This serves as a stark reminder that unchecked government spending can lead not only to economic ruin, but also widespread suffering. The social policies touted by Brazilian leaders didn't just fail economically, they also failed morally. Despite years of socialist governance, Brazil remains one of the world's leaders in murder and robbery rates, while ranking near the bottom among industrialized nations in education and healthcare quality. Americans often take for granted their ability to rise through social classes. Many Brazilians feel trapped in theirs due to systemic issues exacerbated by socialist policies. As we reflect on Brazil's experience with socialism, its empty promises of equality and prosperity, let us be vigilant against similar ideologies taking root in America. The lessons learned from Brazilia's struggles should serve as a warning rather than an invitation for emulation. It's time for American millennials to critically evaluate what socialism truly offers versus what capitalism has achieved historically: innovation, opportunity, and growth without shackles. Let's choose wisely. Are you ready to dive deep into the ideologies that have shaped our world? Discover The Intellectual Journey, Unraveling the Complexities of Marxist, Communist, and Socialist Thought in Modern Society, the second edition. This incisive volume takes you through the revolutionary contributions of figures like Lenin and Stalin, while introducing critical voices such as Solzhenitsyn and Hayek. Understand how these ideologies impact today's political landscape, from the Soviet Union to modern China. Explore cultural Marxism and its role in current progressive movements, equipping yourself with a nuanced understanding of socialism's ongoing debates. Don't miss out on this intellectual odyssey. Purchase your copy now at Amazon or Google Play. The link is in the description of this video. Embark on your journey towards enlightenment today. The escalating tensions between Venezuela and the United States have far-reaching implications, not only for our neighbors, but for us in Brazil as well. As we navigate these turbulent waters, it's imperative that we understand the significance of Brazil's military readiness and the recent warning issued to Nicolas Maduro's regime. In light of heightened tensions, Brazil is conducting Operation Atlas, a major military exercise near our border with Venezuela. This operation is not merely routine, it serves as a demonstration of our readiness to defend our sovereignty. The Brazilian armed forces are preparing for potential conflicts by simulating real-world real-world scenarios over 15 days. The strategic choice of location underscores our commitment to safeguarding our territory against any threat that may arise from Maduro's increasingly aggressive posture. For instance, reports indicate that Venezuelan troops have shown unusual movements, hinting at possible territorial ambitions towards the disputed region of Essequibo in Guyana. By informing Maduro's government about these exercises in advance, we aim to prevent misunderstandings while simultaneously reinforcing our defensive capabilities. While military strength is essential, diplomacy remains a cornerstone of any strategy aimed at conflict resolution. President Lula's private discussions with Nicolas Maduro highlight Brazil's commitment to dialogue even amidst rising tensions. Our leadership understands that effective communication can often de-escalate volatile situations better than force alone. Consider this: despite their strained relations following the recent elections in Venezuela, both nations recognize the importance of stability in the region. By engaging diplomatically while maintaining military readiness, Brazil positions itself as a stabilizing force in South America, one that prioritizes peace but stands ready to defend its interests. The Amazon rainforest is not just a natural treasure. It represents geopolitical value as well. Our military exercises in this region emphasize the importance of protecting our territory against external incursions. With its vast resources and biodiversity at stake, defending this area is crucial for both national security and environmental preservation. And as analysts point out, should tensions escalate further, or if Maduro remains entrenched in power without intervention from external forces like the U.S., we could see renewed claims on territory such as Essequibo intensifying once again. Thus, training our forces to operate effectively within this complex environment becomes paramount, not just for defense, but also for ensuring sustainable management of these vital resources. As we stand on the brink of potential conflict or cooperation with neighboring countries like Venezuela and Guyana, let us remember one thing: preparation breeds confidence. We must continue fortifying our military capabilities while pursuing diplomatic avenues to avoid unnecessary escalation. Let us urge our leaders not only to invest wisely in defense, but also to engage actively with regional partners for peace and stability. Together, we can ensure that Brazil remains a beacon of strength amid uncertainty. Welcome to Brazil, a land rich in history and complexity, where the vibrant tapestry of cultures weaves together stories of indigenous peoples, colonial influences, and modern innovations. Picture yourself wandering through colorful streets of Rio de Janeiro, where the rhythm of samba fills the air and the scent of feijoada wafts from bustling restaurants. Here, the iconic Christ the Redeemer statue stands watch over a city that pulses with life, showcasing both its natural beauty and its spirited communities. As you explore deeper into the heart of Brazil, you'll discover the Amazon rainforest, a breathtaking expanse teeming with biodiversity that plays a crucial role in our planet's health. The country's rich heritage is reflected in its festivals, too. Take Carnival, for instance, an electrifying celebration that draws millions into a whirlpool of music, dance, and elaborate parades. From the stunning beaches of Bahia to the historic streets of Salvador, every corner reveals layers of tradition and contemporary flair. So whether you're indulging in local delicacies or engaging with friendly locals eager to share their stories, Brazil invites you to experience a world where every moment is filled with warmth and wonder. From indigenous governance to colonial rule, discover the intricate tapestry that shaped a nation. It's fascinating to think about how the early systems of governance among indigenous peoples laid the groundwork for what would eventually become a diverse and complex society. These communities often operated on principles of consensus and mutual respect, with leaders chosen for their wisdom and ability to foster harmony rather than through coercive power. As European explorers and settlers arrived, they brought with them not just new technologies and trade opportunities, but also a very different worldview, one that often dismissed or misunderstood the existing systems in place. This class of cultures set in motion a series of events that would profoundly alter the landscape of governance, leading to the imposition of colonial rule characterized by hierarchy and exploitation. Yet, amid this upheaval, elements of indigenous governance persisted, influencing resistance movements and later democratic ideals. By examining this rich history, we can better understand the complexities of identity and power dynamics that continue to shape the nation today. It's a story not just of conflict and change, but also of resilience and adaptation. a reminder that every thread in this tapestry contributes to the broader narrative of who we are as a people. The establishment of the Brazilian Republic in the late 19th century is a fascinating tale of upheaval and transformation, filled with both promise and peril. Picture this. It's 1889, and Brazil, having recently ditched its imperial roots under Emperor Pedro II, finds itself at the dawn of a new era. However, this newfound republic doesn't come without its share of challenges. Instability reigns as political factions vie for power, and the nation grapples with the complexities of transitioning from monarchy to a democratic framework. Amidst this chaos, populist leaders emerge, rallying the masses with impassioned speeches that resonate with ordinary citizens disillusioned by years of elite rule. Figures like Floriano Peixoto rise to prominence, their charismatic appeals igniting hope, but also stirring controversy. The result, a roller coaster of political turbulence marked by coups, revolts, and reforms that often leave the populace feeling more confused than empowered. As we delve into this tumultuous period, we can see from how Brazil's struggle to carve out its identity as a republic is not just a historical footnote, it's a captivating narrative about the push and pull between ambition and reality, where every triumph seems shadowed by looming uncertainty. Imagine stepping into a time when the very air felt thick with tension and uncertainty, a dark era of military dictatorship that cast a long shadow over the nation. During this period, fear gripped the hearts of citizens, turning everyday life into a precarious balancing act between compliance and rebellion. Streets once bustling with laughter and chatter became silent corridors of anxiety, where whispers replaced conversations and glances exchanged were laden with unspoken dread. People lived under the constant watchful eye of the regime. Neighbors turned against each other, wary of being labeled as dissenters, while families were torn apart by the threat of detention or worse. The oppressive atmosphere stifled creativity and hope, leaving behind an indelible mark on the collective psyche of the society. Yet, amidst this bleak backdrop, stories of resilience emerged, of individuals who dared to speak out, risking everything for the promise of freedom. These tales remind us that even in the darkest time, the human spirit can shine brightly against overwhelming odds. And witness the fragile yet hopeful journey toward democracy with the pivotal 1988 Constitution, a landmark document that emerged from the ashes of authoritarian rule and paved the way for a more open society. This Constitution was not just a set of laws, it was a beacon of hope for countless citizens who had long yearned for freedom and representation. The political climate at the time was charged with anticipation as people from all walks of life began to engage in discussions about their rights and responsibilities within a new democratic framework. It was a moment marked by both excitement and trepidation, as individuals cautiously navigated this unfamiliar terrain, dreaming of a future where their voices could be heard. Communities came together in solidarity, holding rallies and forums to discuss the implications of this significant change, highlighting issues like civil liberties and social justice that had been suppressed for so long. The 1988 Constitution symbolized not only a legal transformation, but also a cultural shift towards embracing diversity and inclusion, fostering an environment where dissent could flourish rather than being stifled. As we reflect on this pivotal moment in history, it becomes clear that while the journey toward democracy can be fraught with challenges, it is also filled with immense potential for growth and renewal, reminding us all of the power of collective action in shaping our destiny. If you're curious about the intricate tapestries of Brazil's political journey, look no further than Political History of Brazil, Colonialism to Democracy by Shawn Armstrong. This insightful book takes readers on a captivating journey through the epochs that have shaped modern Brazil. Starting from its colonial roots in the 16th century, Armstrong delves into the complexities of colonial governance and how European powers influenced local politics, setting the stage for centuries of struggle and adaptation. As you flip through the pages, you'll encounter pivotal moments like the fight for independence in the early 19th century, the establishment of a republic, and the turbulent military dictatorship that followed. Each chapter not only outlines significant events, but also weaves in the stories of influential leaders and everyday citizens who played a role in this grand narrative. What makes Armstrong's work particularly engaging is his ability to connect with historical events to contemporary issues, allowing readers to see how Brazil's past continues to resonate in today's political landscape. Whether you're a history buff or just someone looking to understand Brazil's current dynamics better, This book is an essential read that promises to enrich your perspective on one of South America's most vibrant countries. Start your enlightening exploration now. The links are in the description below. Whether you're curious about a new hobby, seeking to deepen your knowledge on a particular subject, or simply looking for inspiration, these resources are just a click away. Imagine diving into a world where every link leads to a treasure trove of information, engaging articles, and thought-provoking videos that can spark your creativity and broaden your horizons. Each click opens up new pathways to understanding and discovery, offering insights that could change the way you see things. So why wait? Embrace this opportunity to learn and grow. Just scroll down to the description, find those links, and let your journey begin. It's time to satisfy that curiosity and transform it into something extraordinary. Your adventure awaits. I want to play something for you from a professor, Carol Swain. She's a professor of political science at Vanderbilt University.
When you think about racial equality and civil rights, which political party comes to mind? The Republicans or the Democrats? Most people would probably say the Democrats, but this answer is incorrect. Since its founding in 1829, the Democratic Party has fought against every major civil rights initiative and has a long history of discrimination. The Democratic Party defended slavery, started the Civil War, opposed Reconstruction, founded the Ku Klux Klan, imposed segregation, perpetrated lynchings, and fought against the Civil Rights Acts of the 1950s and 1960s. In contrast, the Republican Party was founded in 1854 as an anti-slavery party. Its mission was to stop the spread of slavery into the new Western territories with the aim of abolishing it entirely. This effort, however, was dealt a major blow by the Supreme Court in the 1857 case Dred Scott versus Sandford. The court ruled that slaves aren't citizens, they're property. The 7 justices who voted in favor of slavery, all Democrats. The 2 justices who dissented, both Republicans. The slavery question was, of course, ultimately resolved by a bloody civil war. The commander-in-chief during that war was the first Republican president, Abraham Lincoln, the man who freed the slaves. 6 days after the Confederate Army surrendered, John Wilkes Booth, a Democrat, assassinated President Lincoln. Lincoln's vice president, a Democrat named Andrew Johnson, assumed the presidency. But Johnson adamantly opposed Lincoln's plan to integrate the newly freed slaves into the South's economic and social order. Johnson and the Democratic Party were unified in their opposition to the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery, the 14th Amendment, which gave blacks citizenship, and the 15th Amendment, which gave blacks the vote. All 3 passed only because of universal Republican support. During the era of Reconstruction, federal troops stationed in the South helped secure rights for the newly freed slaves. Hundreds of black men were elected to Southern state legislatures as Republicans, and 22 black Republicans served in the U.S. Congress by 1900. The Democrats did not elect a black man to Congress until 1935. But after Reconstruction ended, when the federal troops went home, Democrats roared back into power in the South. They quickly reestablished white supremacy across the region with measures like black codes, laws that restricted the ability of blacks to own property and run businesses, and they imposed poll taxes and literacy tests used to subvert black citizens' right to vote. And how was all of this enforced? By terror, much of it instigated by the Ku Klux Klan, founded by a Democrat, Nathan Bedford Forrest. As historian Eric Foner, himself a Democrat, notes, in effect, the Klan was a military force serving the interests of the Democratic Party. President Woodrow Wilson, a Democrat, shared many views with the Klan. He resegregated many federal agencies and even screened the first movie ever played at the White House, the racist film The Birth of a Nation, originally entitled The Klansman. A few decades later, the only serious congressional opposition to the landmark Civil Rights Act of 1964 came from Democrats. 80% of Republicans in Congress supported the bill, less than 70% of Democrats did. Democratic senators filibustered the bill for 75 days until Republicans mustered the few extra votes needed to break the logjam. And when all of their efforts to enslave blacks, keep them enslaved, and then keep them from voting had failed, the Democrats came up with a new strategy. If black people are going to vote, they might as well vote for Democrats, as President Lyndon Johnson was purported to have said about the Civil Rights Act. I'll have them voting Democrat for 200 years. So now, the Democratic Party prospers on the votes of the very people it has spent much of its history oppressing. Democrats falsely claim that the Republican Party is the villain, when in reality, it's the failed policies of the Democratic Party that have kept blacks down. Massive government welfare has decimated the black family. Opposition to school choice has kept them trapped in failing schools. Politically correct policing has left black neighborhoods defenseless against violent crime. So when you think about racial equality and civil rights, which political party should come to mind? I'm Carol Swain, professor of political science and law at Vanderbilt University.
Thank you for attending this meeting of canceled mascots. I'd like to welcome our first white member.
Howdy.
So they're not just canceling minority mascots anymore?
They're coming for all of us.
Since you're new, tell us your story.
Well, I was just minding my business, sitting next to a barrel looking folksy, and this white lady...
Yep, always a white lady.
A white lady said I'm racist. I mean, how? How?
So as I was telling y'all, this white lady says I'm just not connecting with the younger folk these days.
It's those millennials. They ruin everything.
Millennials are in their 40s now. I think the problem is Gen Z.
It's young people. They don't have respect for tradition.
What we like to remind ourselves here is just because certain people turned against us does not mean we're bad mascots. We are beloved.
I'll try to remember that.
So what's in the barrel? Is it crackers?
A barrel would be an odd container for crackers.
So are you the cracker?
Excuse me?
Then what is in there? Is it pickles?
It's just a barrel. I wouldn't worry about it.
Is it fish? Do you have fish in a barrel?
Is it cheese?
It's not rice, is it? Rice is my thing.
Can we move on?
I think that's a good idea. Now, for our next order of business...
What is in that barrel?
Hey, I want you to know two things. One, I'm just a folksy guy who wants to help sell Southern-style cooking. Two, if you keep asking about the barrel, it's going to be the biggest regret of your life.
Did that barrel just move?
What? Oh, that's just dandy. The public has demanded me back. So long, losers. It's time for me and my barrel to go back to imprisoning the souls of the innocent.
That's nice. Maybe there's hope for all of us.
Now, Mark made another appearance, obviously not realizing that he doesn't know anything about socialism because he tried to equate government subsidies to socialism. Let me explain socialism. Socialism is state ownership of the means of production and distribution. Now, we do have socialism in the United States, and it's usually the worst parts of the bureaucracy. Take, for instance, the Veterans Administration. The government owns the hospitals, pays the staff, so that is socialism. Also, 22 veterans a day cease to exist themselves because socialism sucks and always has. Government subsidies come out of taxpayers' dollars to keep people fed, but they don't own the farms. They don't own the property. It's still private property. Farmers can do with their property what they want. They also don't have to take the subsidies, whereas in socialism, the government would be financing the farm totally because they would own it. That's socialism. Oh, and have I mentioned lately, 4 million registered Democrats have left the party. Not 1 million, not 2 million, not even 3 million, 4 million. Keep doing what you're doing, dingo nuts. In an era defined by sharp ideological divides, the Bloodstained Banner emerges as a powerful and thought-provoking exploration of the shortcomings associated with socialism and communism. This compelling expose goes beyond mere critique. It meticulously unearths the often overlooked historical realities and human costs tied to these ideologies, presenting a sophisticated analysis that prompts readers to reevaluate long-held beliefs. The author, through rigorous research, skillfully navigates the appealing narrative surrounding Scandinavian socialism, illuminating the stark contrast between idealized visions and the harsh truths of implementation. Each chapter provides a penetrating examination of how socialist principles have stumbled when put into practice. Essentially, when compared to capitalist systems that encourage innovation and celebrate individual creativity. The book doesn't shy away from the darker side of history. Its harrowing accounts of suffering under various communist regimes, ranging from Azerbaijan's oppressive rule to Vietnam's struggles, serve as a poignant reminders of the dire consequences that can arise from totalitarian governance. With a tone that balances formality and engagement, The Bloodstained Banner challenges readers to confront uncomfortable truths about economic systems and their profound impact on human lives. It's not just a book, it's an essential read for anyone eager to grasp the complex implications of these ideologies in today's world. Are you ready to question your perspectives? Dive into The Bloodstained Banner today and embark on a transformative journey through history and thought that promises to reshape your understanding of these critical issues. Links are in the description. Once Venezuela stood as a beacon of hope in South America. It was a nation rich in resources, buoyed by a functioning democracy and a thriving middle class. Today, it serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of socialism, a cautionary tale we can't afford to ignore. Hugo Chavez promised to create a socialist paradise where wealth would be shared among the people. His slogan, Esperanza y Cambio, or Hope and Change, resonated with many who felt marginalized by capitalism. However, this illusion quickly crumbled. As the government seized control of industries, including oil, a crucial sector, Venezuela's economy began to unravel. Multinational companies were driven out, leading to plummeting production and investment. What was one of the richest countries in Latin America became one where basic goods like bread and toilet paper were chronically scarce. Under Chavez's rule, and later under Nicolas Maduro, democracy became an empty shell. Political opposition was stifled. Journalists faced imprisonment for daring to report on the regime's failures. Freedom of the press is almost non-existent today, illustrating how quickly power can corrupt when unchecked by democratic norms. In this environment, citizens lost their voices, their rights stripped away under the guise of protecting the people's interests. When leaders prioritize control over accountability, they lead their nation down a dark path. Socialism breeds dependency, a dangerous cycle that is hard to escape once established. In Venezuela, millions fled the country as opportunities evaporated. Nearly 2 million left in search of better lives elsewhere. Those who remained found themselves reliant on government handouts while facing shortages in food and medicine. This dependency has created an entire generation that has grown accustomed to waiting for assistance rather than pursuing self-sufficiency. It serves as a powerful warning that reliance on state control can strip away individual initiative and entrepreneurial spirit. Venezuela's descent into chaos is not just its tragedy, it's a lesson for all nations considering similar paths. Socialism may promise equality, but often delivers despair instead. We must recognize this truth before it's too late, before we allow ourselves to be seduced by similar promises here at home. Let's stand together against socialism's alluring lies, protect our freedoms, and embrace policies that empower individuals rather than governments. Oh, and have I mentioned lately, 4 million registered Democrats have left the party. Not 1 million, not 2 million, not even 3 million. 4 million. Keep doing what you're doing, dingo nuts. For decades, the term fascist has been wielded as a weapon by the left against those on the right. Every Republican president and many Republicans in general have faced this accusation. But what if I told you that this label might not reflect reality? Let's dive into the true origin and ideology of fascism. Fascism is often portrayed as a hallmark of right-wing politics. However, this perspective oversimplifies a complex ideology. Giovanni Gentile, an influential philosopher and key figure in fascist thought, was actually a committed socialist. He believed that true democracy required individuals to subordinate their interests to the state, a notion that resonates with modern progressive rhetoric about community and collective responsibility. For example, Mario Cuomo's speech at the 1984 Democratic Convention likened America to an extended family where government plays a central role in caring for its citizens. This echoes Gentile's vision of society where personal rights yield to collective needs. Gentile argued that all private actions should serve society, blurring the lines between public and private interests. He asserted that submitting to society meant submitting to the state, an idea echoed by Benito Mussolini in his writings on fascism. Mussolini famously stated, "All is in the state and nothing human exists or has value outside the state." This reflects how both historical fascists and today's left advocate for increased state control over individual freedoms and industries. Consider how recent expansions in government oversight, from healthcare to education, mirror these principles. The reluctance of today's left to confront Gentile's philosophy speaks volumes about their desire to distance themselves from fascism's legacy while simultaneously embracing its core tenets. By advocating for a centralized government that directs resources towards societal goals, modern progressives inadvertently align themselves with Gentile's ideas on socialism wrapped in national identity. This kinship is evident when we observe initiatives aimed at increasing state intervention across various sectors of our economy, parallels that are hard to ignore. The historical narrative surrounding fascism has been distorted over time, obscuring its true ideological roots. Understanding figures like Giovanni Gentile is crucial if we are to recognize how closely some aspects of modern leftist thought align with fascist principles. It is our responsibility to engage critically with these ideas rather than accept them blindly. Let us not allow history's lessons to be forgotten. Instead, let us challenge ourselves and others to seek clarity amidst confusion. Educate yourself further about political ideologies, engage in discussion, question labels used in political discourse. Oh, and have I mentioned lately, 4 million registered Democrats have left the party. Not 1 million, not 2 million, not even 3 million, but 4 million. Keep doing what you're doing, dingo nuts. Let's embark on a journey into the heart of political thought. In a world where ideologies shape our societies, understanding Marxism, communism, and socialism is not just an academic exercise. It is essential for informed citizenship and meaningful discourse. Vladimir Lenin and Joseph Stalin are pivotal figures in the history of communism. Their leadership not only established communist regimes, but also employed strategies that wielded power through both inspiration and terror. For instance, Lenin's implementation of the New Economic Power Policy, NEP, in the 1920s showcased an attempt to reconcile state control with market mechanisms, aiming to revive a struggling economy while maintaining communist principles. This duality reflects the complexity within Marxist thought, an ideology grappling with practical governance. Understanding their contributions allows us to see how power dynamics operate in revolutionary contexts. Not all voices echo the tenets of Marxism unquestionably. Thinkers like Alexander Solzhenitsyn, Ludwig von Mises, and Friedrich Hayek have profoundly critiqued these ideologies. For example, Solzhenitsyn's works expose the human cost of totalitarian regimes, highlighting how individual liberties were sacrificed at the altar of state control in Soviet Russia. His insights remind us that while ideologies can inspire movement for change, they can also lead to devastating consequences when individual rights are overlooked. These critical perspectives provide a necessary balance to our understanding of socialism today. The exploration does not end with Russia. It extends globally. Nations like Yugoslavia and China offer varied interpretations of communism shaped by their unique historical contexts. For instance, China's shift towards a market-driven economy under Deng Xiaoping Deng Xiaoping demonstrates how communist ideologies can adapt over time without losing its foundational identity. This adaptability raises important questions about what socialism means in different cultural landscapes and invites us to consider how these ideologies evolve in response to changing societal needs. As we dive deeper into these themes in the intellectual journey, unraveling the complexities of Marxist, communist, and socialist thought in modern society, we gain invaluable insights into ongoing debates surrounding socialism today. This second edition not only examines historical figures, but also delves into cultural Marxism and progressive movements striving for societal transformation. Understanding these formidable ideologies equips you with a nuanced perspective essential for navigating today's political landscape. I urge you to embark on this intellectual odyssey. Purchase your copy now. Knowledge is power. Equip yourself with insights that matter. Visit the link in the description to purchase your copy. Explore diverse perspectives on these ideologies. Engage with ongoing discussions about socialism in modern society. So just a heads up on the college course. Today is the final class, the final exam. I'll let you know how I do. Let me see if... And I'm not going to play my notes and, all the lecture and all blah, blah, blah. But I'll just let you know. I'll let you know how I do after I'm done. Well, I'll post the certificate for you if I pass. Like I do online. Oh, yeah, and be looking for a book on this course. It's actually quite interesting. Well, unless you have to, listen to hours of lectures. Then it's not so interesting. But it's interesting doing the research and the reading. So I've asked the same question 10 times again today. If Donald Trump is on some list, why isn't Joe, it's shower time Ashley Biden, or Kamala the cackling dingus Harris the president? Sounds like a slam dunk election win to me compared to the stupid shit they made up. For example, trying to get $500 million when the banks were actually testifying for the defense. Or the misdemeanor that somehow they got bumped up to a felony, if he actually did it. I'm not getting into that in this video because I've done a video on that elsewhere. You can find it in this podcast. But I keep asking the question. I never get an answer because the answer requires common sense and would destroy their narrative. They're not president because there was nothing to leak. As a matter of fact, wouldn't the FBI director that Trump fired, Wray, still be FBI director? He had access to those files. I guess common sense is just too much for these people. Or maybe Joe, it's shower time Ashley Biden, is that retarded. But I can't believe his entire staff was. They knew enough to use the auto pen. Oh, and have I mentioned lately, 4 million registered Democrats have left the party. Not 1 million, not 2 million, not 3 million, 4 million. Keep doing what you're doing, dingo nuts. Just took my final for my college class. Passed. So I have this certificate. I'll put it up right now. Well, there you go. Another one to add to the collection. I should actually probably have a doctorate by now. But be looking for a book because this is where I get most of my inspiration. So I have an idiot on Facebook that I've proven wrong using sourced articles, and they continue to babble. So now I'm not even reading their posts. I'm just posting the sourced articles over and over. Well, that and an article making fun of them for trying to babble to counter-sourced articles. Well, that and an article also putting forth the theory that stupid people don't know they're stupid because, well, they're stupid. It's downpouring now. You can probably hear it on my mic maybe a little bit. I have a better mic, but look at that picture. It's like a hurricane out there. Of course, we need the rain, but we don't need it all at once. I've been getting these videos on YouTube about hitting the wall. These 35, 40-year-old women complaining about being single. I have bad news for you. You did it to yourselves. And every video, they're complaining about being single, they're blaming it on the man. No, you did it to yourself. It's called fourth wave feminism. You're a strong and independent woman. Good for you. Go be strong and independent woman somewhere else. There's no upside for men being with you. 97% of divorces are initiated by women. Then the women get cash and prizes on the way out the door. So where's the upside for a man to want to be with you? Let's look at some gym videos too. How many times have you accused men of harassment? Nobody wants to deal with your mental illness. That's why you're alone at 35 or 40 years old. You're nuts. You're crazy. You're strong and independent. You're also blast that stuff all over the internet for everyone to see. I've been with so many guys, it's a wonder my uterus doesn't fall out. I think it's time I go out and get myself wifed up. I think it's time you go out and get yourself some cats. I have a huge section on radical feminism in my book, The American Left, from liberalism to despotism. They want equal rights, but they sure as shit don't want equal responsibilities. If they did, there wouldn't be special family court laws. Also, the selective service system would be getting twice as many registrations. There wouldn't be stiffer sentences for men assaulting women. It would just be assault. You want true equality? Let's just flatten all the laws, all the regulations, and everybody's equal in the eyes of the law. If you assault a man, expect some return shots. Everybody's equal. Self-defense laws apply equally. Draft laws apply equally. Divorce laws apply equally. Custody laws apply equally. If a woman makes a false allegation, she should have to do the sentence that the man would have had to do. And if she hadn't gotten caught, let's say in Florida, rape carries a 30-year sentence. That woman should be doing 30 years. I bet you that shit would stop real quick. Oh, and have I mentioned today 4 million registered Democrats have left the party? Not 1 million, not 2 million, not even 3 million, 4 million. Keep doing what you're doing, dingle nuts. I do love these loony leftists trying to make everything look doom and gloom because they need Trump to fail. If he succeeds, they may not get a president in there for years. Falling commodity prices, tariffs, inflation, labor shortage, no bailouts, bankruptcies, FAFU. And then he's got laughing faces. They need Trump to fail. They don't care if, it destroys the country. They just need him to fail. Well, let me clue you in on some stuff. A loony leftist came over on one of Grumpy Farmer's videos, as they like to do, saying, falling commodity prices, tariffs, inflation, labor shortages, no bailouts, bankruptcies, FAFU. And yes, smiling face emojis. He's obviously an idiot who doesn't read. Over the past year, we've seen notable increases across various sectors, impacting everything from our daily groceries to the technologies that power our lives. One of the most striking trends has been in minerals and metals. The UNCTAD Commodity Price Index reports a remarkable 23.6% year-to-year increase in this sector. Precious metals, in particular, have surged by an astounding 37.4% compared to March last year. This rise is driven by robust demand for materials such as copper, lithium, nickel, and cobalt, essential components for renewable energy technologies and digital services. As industries pivot towards greener alternatives, these materials are becoming increasingly valuable. Energy prices have also felt the impact of recent global events. As of September this year, natural gas prices have risen by 33.8% compared to last year. However, it's crucial to note that there was a slight decline of 3.9% in August due to falling U.S. natural gas and crude oil prices. These fluctuations highlight how geopolitical tensions such as ongoing conflicts can disrupt supply chains and influence energy costs globally. Food prices have not remained untouched either. They saw a rise of 6.6% in March alone. Agricultural raw materials increased by 3.1%, reflecting pressures from various factors including rising input costs like energy and fertilizers, as well as adverse weather conditions affecting crop yields. While some forecasts predict record high cereal stocks by the end of next year, which could ease supply concerns, the reality remains that many consumers are feeling the pinch at grocery stores today. As we navigate these turbulent waters of rising commodity prices, it is essential to remain informed about the factors at play, from strong global demand to geopolitical disruptions and climate impacts. Understanding these dynamics will empower us all to make better decisions moving forward. Let's delve into the latest Consumer Price Index data for July 2025. As we navigate through these numbers, it's crucial to understand what they mean for us as consumers and the broader economy. The inflation rate has decreased from 2.89% in July 2025 to 2.7% in July 2025. This decline, the headline, the inflation rate has decreased from 2.89% in July 2024 to 2.7% in July 2025. This decline is a positive sign, indicating that the overall cost of goods and services is stabilizing. For instance, gas prices have fallen significantly over the past year, providing relief at the pump for many families across the country. Lower fuel costs can lead to reduced transportation expenses, benefiting not just individual budgets, but also businesses that rely on logistics. However, while overall inflation may be easing, core inflation, which excludes food and energy, has risen by 3.1%. This suggests that underlying price pressures persist in various sectors of our economy. Take housing costs as an example. Rents have surged in many urban areas due to high demand and limited supply. This increase puts additional strain on household budgets and highlights that while some prices are falling, others are climbing at an alarming rate. The complexity of this situation becomes even clearer when we look at the specific items. For example, egg prices have skyrocketed over the past year due to supply chain issues and avian flu outbreaks affecting poultry production. On the other hand, prices for many consumer electronics have dropped thanks to advancements in technology and increased competition among manufacturers. This uneven landscape means that while some consumers may feel relief in certain areas of their spending, others continue to face rising costs that can impact their quality of life. While we see a slight easing in overall inflation compared to last year, it remains a multifaceted issue with varying impacts across different goods and services. It's vital for us as consumers to stay informed about these trends so we can make better financial decisions moving forward. Let's advocate for policies that promote transparency in pricing and support measures aimed at stabilizing essential goods costs. And on that note, I'm going to wrap things up and get to editing so I can premiere this tonight so we can watch it at a good time. It's Friday, so I'll probably be hitting the store for some cold snacks. I'll be in the chat while it's playing, so if you want to leave comments. Oh, and have I mentioned lately, 4 million registered Democrats have left the party. Not 1 million, not 2 million, not even 3 million. 4 million. Keep doing what you're doing, Dingle Nuts.